We can use the updated Gyrfalcon's Hauberk to gain unlimited overshields in both PvP and PvE, all while buffing our damage output and add clearing capabilities with our newly available Volatile Rounds. I'm talking insta-delete champions level of damage. Then when you start synergizing your perks and abilities to go with Gyrfalcons, you can build an insanely strong loop that is effective at every level of play. The dawning is here in Destiny 2, and the greatest gift we've received didn't come in the form of cookies from Evil Levante, it came in the form of Gyrfalcon's Hauberk. With an update straight out of the Bungie patch notes, the Hunter exotic appears to have done a holiday exchange and traded its old bonus damage for Volatile Rounds on all your Void weapons. Except, it didn't really get rid of the buff either. The old damage buff can still be found in PvE through finishing an enemy while invisible, giving you the Gyrfalcon's damage buff for 6 seconds, along with still gaining that on-demand overshield for you and your teammates. The new Volatile Rounds part of the exotic activates just like the old damage buff used to, so it starts when you come out of invis no matter how you got invis. It lasts for 10 seconds in PvE, 4 seconds in PvP, and the timer for Volatile Rounds is reset every time you go in and out of invis again. So Gyrfalcon's Hauberk just got a massive buff in PvE, and in my opinion, an extremely good option in PvP. Let's dive into how we can push both to the extreme. In PvP, Volatile Rounds out of invis gives us an on-demand tool to disrupt players who stick together. The explosion on a kill does 80 damage, allowing you to clean up opponents more easily after a successful flank on one of them. The Volatile Rounds supposedly explode once they've done 200 damage on a Guardian, but I couldn't get it to proc in a way that was helpful for taking out Juggernaut Striker Titans with my Epicurean. It didn't seem to make that much different on a Glaive Shield either, but it did help in taking down a 10 Resil Titan inside of their bubble at full health. So that's a pretty interesting trick if you can get the jump on them. 2 shots with Volatile Rounds from this fusion rifle completely killed the Titan, whereas 2 shots without Volatile Rounds did not. And there's more. Volatile Rounds can proc the Repulsor Brace perk found on Void weapons. This perk gives you a 45 HP Void Overshield for 8 seconds, 9 seconds for the enhanced version of Repulsor Brace. And the Overshield timer is enhanced further if you're running the Fragment Echo of Persistence. It also refreshes back to the top of the timer if you get another Repulsor Brace kill. That means if you've got Repulsor Brace, when you get a kill out of invis, you also gain a 45 HP overshield. Simple as that. It's like the One-Eyed Mask exotic, but it's for hunters and it's just a perk. I will say, quick note on Repulsor Brace and Volatile Rounds, it doesn't appear to activate every time, and I could not figure out the reason why. Sometimes I'd get it twice in a row and stack my overshield, and sometimes I wouldn't get it for up to 3 kills in a row. So just letting you know, it's a little inconsistent, but that doesn't mean it isn't worth running to just grab an overshield every once in a while. In PvP, that is huge. Now you can up the synergy again by using the stylish executioner aspect that hunters have for Void 3.0. So just like the Repulsor Brace is activated through the Volatile Rounds, this one will make you invisible again after you use your Volatile Rounds to get a kill. And then it also gives you True Sight for 4 seconds, so you can see your enemies through walls for that time. This could be a great option for players looking for another advantage in competitive or Trials of Osiris. So think of how many things you have going for you if you run Gyrfalcons in PvP with a Repulsor Brace weapon and Stylish Executioner. You come out of invis, you've got the ability to deal extra damage to players that require more than 200 damage, you've got the ability to deal with players that are grouped up together, and you've got the ability to gain an overshield, invis, and True Sight on a kill. That is crazy strong. And I think Bungie knows this since they've added Repulsor Brace as a perk on the new Trials of Osiris hand cannon that will be available this weekend. So look out for that roll on the Exalted Truth hand cannon. I will make a quick note that I didn't love giving up my Deadfall Smoke Invis for Stylish Executioner. I use my Smoke Bomb for Invis a lot, and that Invis timer is much longer, allowing you to make better plays. Stylish Executioner struggled with the same inconsistencies that Repulsor Brace did, and so it wasn't worth that trade-off for me. I'd rather have more opportunities to use Volatile Rounds in PvP, so Repulsor Brace, high recommend, because it's just a free overshield and not giving up much if it doesn't work, but Stylish Executioner, much lower recommend in practice. There aren't too many weapons that have Repulsor Brace available on them. For PvP, I already mentioned both the craftable Epicurean fusion rifle and the Exalted Truth Trials of Osiris hand cannon, and those are the 2 you'll find me running in PvP. For PvE, you can do all the same stuff we just talked about for PvP, but you can also stack a lot more damage and loop everything much more efficiently. I also didn't feel like either Repulsor Brace or Stylish Wear is great to use in PvE. As fun as it is to just go invis over and over and have that overshield, there is much bigger damage available in other perk columns. So let's get to what I'm talking about. My favorite, by far, out of anything out there is the new seasonal machine gun, Retrofit Escapade. The first machine gun to ever drop with Golden Tricorn. Forget Repulsor Brace. We're stacking 50% extra damage on this thing. If you've watched my Golden Tricorn video, you know just how easy this perk is to get going and just how much damage it can put out when you start stacking it on Font of Might and other buffs. Previously, Golden Tricorn was only available on one heavy ammo weapon, a rocket launcher. But this season, we've got it on a machine gun and we've got Volatile Rounds on demand with Gyrfalcon's Hauberk. I just so happen to be experimenting with this anyways on my Warlock before Gyrfalcon's change, and it has been a blast. So when I realized I could get the Volatile Rounds for free on demand instead of working so hard to loot my grenades, it has become a must-have combo for me. Oh, was there a boss there? Not anymore. You don't have champion mods on? No problem. Let's just shred through them. That bulky HP hive that sets off the alarm in the seasonal activity? Gone. Room full of enemies? This combo can take care of anything. What I've been doing to proc it is to just fire one bullet to kill some low level mob, make sure another ad is weak, and then do my dive bomb smoke melee on the weak enemy. This activates the 50% damage from Golden Tricorn ×2 and Volatile Rounds at the same time, along with a well from Melee Wellmaker, which takes my damage up another 25% with Font of Might. I'm coming out of invis, shredding everything and instantly detonating anything that gets in my way. I like it more than my mini Thunderlord build I just made from Spyro the Watcher Volt Shot machine gun. It's that strong, it's that fun, and I can't put it down. We're not even done yet. You can use the normal Void Fragment that gives you Volatile Rounds on grenade kills to double up the timer on your Volatile Rounds. Not that you're really gonna need it because activating it on invis is so easy, but if your timer's going down on either Volatile Rounds or Golden Tricorn ×2, you can just throw a grenade and reset both back to 10 seconds. I love this build. And the machine gun is such a great match. You can roll through anything, and I love using it over a primary, not just for the big damage, but because the magazine is so big. You just eat through your mag, destroy everything. By the time you're almost out, you just dodge again to auto reload the weapon and go invis to reset your Volatile Rounds timer. What a loop. I will go ahead and note here that I don't love using the extra damage in overshield, specifically from the invisible finisher part of Gyrfalcon's Hauberk. I know the 7-second timer seems like a good amount to work with, but you have to remember that this timer starts when you start doing the finisher. So in reality, you only have about 4 seconds of that damage buff. That is such a short period of time to work with, especially if you're working with other perks like the 50% damage buff from Golden Tricorn. Plus, the requirement of being invisible to do the finisher disrupts any loop you have going if there are no enemies around. Think about it. You have to come out of invis to get an enemy weak. But what if you don't have another invis method available? Then you're left with a weak enemy to finish with no invis. So yeah, that part just gets really particular when you're already juggling so much. My advice, don't focus on the invisible finisher aspect of it too much. There are much bigger plays to make and much more fun to be had. Now this brings me to my last recommendation for PvE. And potentially PvP too, depending on your playstyle. There are 2 weapons in the game that actually have Repulsor Brace in the 3rd column instead of the 4th. This is important for PvE because most of the damage dealing perks are in the 4th column, and I hate giving up that 4th column for just an overshield on Volatile Round kills. One of the guns that fixes this is the new Ritual Pulse Rifle this season, Velis X, which comes curated with Repulsor Brace and Golden Tricorn or Kill Clip. This lets you get massive damage and proc an overshield whenever you get the kill with Volatile Rounds, which should be all the time if you're rocking Gyrfalcons. All that to say, I was really hoping to love this thing, but it just feels bad. I actually have people in the Discord right now telling me how much they love it and synergizes great with the right build, but I just can't get into it. Link for that Discord is in the description if you're interested. True Vanguard actually called this weapon out in a tweet, and I was like, no, he's just not that into Golden Tricorn as I am, but y'all, he's right. This gun just feels bad. I don't know what it is, but I really wish it was a lightweight frame instead of an aggressive 4-burst. But wait. Don't lose hope, the ultimate combo exists on one other gun. And we just got it this week with the Dawning event, the new Glacioclasm. It has the possibility of rolling Repulsor Brace in the 3rd column and Golden Tricorn in the 4th. Holy heck, what an amazing roll on an amazing gun. That is some crazy good damage with Golden Tricorn ×2 alone, but add in Volatile Rounds on demand and you are smoking anything that gets in your way. You can forget Reservoir Burst completely when you're rocking 50% extra damage, explosions from Volatile Rounds, and an overshield with every kill from Repulsor Brace. It's absolutely going to be one of the roles I'm grinding for in this year's Dawning event. Again, only 2 weapons that have this perk combo, and Glacio is definitely at the top of my list out of those weapons. I know lots of people are running to Collective Obligation right away, but not everyone raids, and I wanted to showcase some of the other stuff you can now do with Gyrfalcons. And don't be afraid to bust out another void weapon you love just for the Volatile Rounds. Someone just tagged me on Twitter talking about the old Stats for All, One for All Void SMG from this past Guardian games. There are so many options. It's just pure fun and Void Explosion adrenaline with this new Gyrfalcon's Hauberk update. Excited to talk all the new season of Seraph weapons with you in the coming weeks. Until next time, GG.